that the people of Georgia have spoken, and not only did Handel win, Handel won handily. More than Donald Trump won that same district 5 months ago.
I was watching last night, and she had just voted, and she said, I'm putting on my I voted sticker, something my opponent is not able to do.
It's true.
He doesn't live in the district. So he was representing people that he didn't even live amongst.
So there you go. Karen Handel, 53% to Jon Ossoff, who spent millions of out-of-state money, 47. You know, as we look at that number right there, keep this in mind. In the April primary, where nobody got above 50%, and that's why they had the runoff, Karen Handel in the April primary got 20%. So she actually outperformed. She got 32% more. He just needed 1% after the April primary and actually lost ground.
Can I just say the polls, the pollsters had to be looking themselves in the mirror. They took their face out of the mirror for a second, did polls for this, and all but one poll had Ossoff winning or ahead this entire time and winning by about 3 or 4 points. What happened?
Trafalgar, the name of the polling outfit, got it actually absolutely right.
Well, that's exactly what happened during the election. The polls were showing that the Democrats were winning, that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and obviously that didn't happen.
That's kind of like what Donald Trump had said, don't believe the polls. And Karen Handel didn't. She was on our program yesterday. She said she felt she was going to win. That was in the morning. After she won, she said this.
Special thanks to the President of the United States of America. But let's not forget our equally great Vice President, Mike Pence.
And she went on to say she cannot forget someone she got very close to recently, Steve Scalise, and says how important he has been through the whole time. He called her, he goes, he nicknamed me the Terminator, and she appreciates that. I just think it's so interesting that at least one professor from all Ivy League schools donated to her. You have celebrities like Alyssa Milano, John Cryer, Jane Fonda, Chelsea Handler, Rosie O'Donnell, Samuel L. Jackson, all donated to him, who ran as a Republican, everything that they are against. All the people that don't want us at their parties and want to hang out with us, all those people put the money into this guy. And again, celebrities find out and Ivy Leaguers find out that America has other things on their mind.
$50 million, the most expensive House race ever. You would think, though, if the Democrats want to win, that they would at least put someone, I mean, because it was pretty close, it was 53-47, that they would put someone in office or put someone on the ballot that lived in that district.
But
that seems like a no-brainer.
But he was within 3 miles. But the thing is, they had no ideas. The ideas he had, no one believed he believed. He was acting like a moderate/conservative. Where are the Democrats saying, yeah, I know what Donald Trump's doing, here's what we're doing, as opposed to Russia, collusion, you don't want Donald Trump and people like him. America's not buying it.
Well, there was a simple reason why he wound up on the primary ballot, and that was because he challenged Tom Price in 2016. He lost significantly, only spent $1,000 to do it, but nonetheless, he wound up on the ballot against her, and then, of course, she won. President Trump, who sent out a number of tweets before the election telling people to go vote and vote for her, tweeted this last night.
He said, congratulations to Karen Handel on her big win in Georgia 6. Fantastic job. We are all very proud of you.
And then there was another one. Well, the special elections are over, and those that want to make America great again are 5-0. All the fake news, all the money spent, zero, as the Democrats keep their losing streak alive.
And Donald Trump Jr., again, with a cutting edge and biting wit, says, congratulations, Dems. That's the most expensive participation medal ever awarded since November. Congratulations. So, again, a lot of money, a lot of attention. They put everything on the line. They wanted to send a message to President Trump, and their message is, you lose again. You got to come up with a mission statement, a reason to get elected, running against Donald Trump, and because he definitely has a mission. He definitely will bring America in a direction. Barack Obama definitely had a mission. He definitely had a direction. The Democrats don't.
You know what? The Democrats are waking up this morning and they're scratching their head. We spent all that money. How could we possibly have lost? And when you look at it, you think about where all the money went. they could have been real smart and funded like 5 or 6 other House races. The Democrats have to be smarter about where they spend the money, where they have a chance to win, rather than where they want to win. I mean, they wanted the symbolic, hey, we beat Donald Trump, take that, he's toast. Instead, Donald Trump, as he tweeted, 5-0. Well, Tucker Carlson last night, go ahead.
Tucker Carlson last night
made some great points.
Yeah, he talked about why the Democrats keep losing, that they really need to listen to the Republicans. Right. Listen to what Tucker said last night.
Democrats still literally have no idea why they keep losing elections. If they did, they would have run a real candidate with a real job who understands the constituents he is attempting to represent. Instead, Democrats put up a 30-year-old semi-employed documentary filmmaker who can't even vote for himself because he doesn't live in the district. He's got a ton of trendy rich people positions on just about every topic. The abortion people love him. He's gravely concerned about climate and childhood obesity and the availability of organic kale. He thinks illegal aliens are noble. He went to the London School of Economics. He's super fit and way smarter than you are. We could go on and on. You've seen it all before. That's the point. Voters have seen it before, too. And outside of Brooklyn and the west side of L.A., they're not that into it. That's why Democrats keep losing. Why is it so hard for the left to find candidates who run on issues that voters actually, demonstrably care about?
Exactly. Run for who you are and then see where the chips fall, and then at least you know you went down being yourself. Also, I think it's important to look at the big picture. You know, as guys like Larry Sabato say, don't get all caught up in special elections no matter how they go. But if you talk about Republicans deciding to retire or not retire because the House looks like it's trending Democratic, when you talk about Republicans in the Senate wondering, should I get behind this health care bill even though it's controversial, or Donald Trump because he could be hurting the party, all those answers are he's not hurting the party, health care is okay, and the American people haven't changed their minds. Anna Palmer from Politico on the big picture.
Really does show for Democrats is they have a lot to be nervous about. This was a race where they had all of the money in the world, they had all of the energy and enthusiasm, they came very close in the primary, but they were not able to deliver. 0 and 4 means that they are going to have a very tough time in the midterm election.
Absolutely. And we kind of mentioned this yesterday. Had the Democrats won, the headlines on every channel would have been the Democrats won, and they would have been talking about it all day. But instead, the Republicans won, and if you click around, I've got a feeling they're probably going to be talking a lot about Russian collusion later today. And in fact, when you look at the way the Democrats in Congress were talking about, they tried to hedge donors' expectations. While early polls had showed the Democrat was actually leading, they were saying, you know what, we don't really expect to win, we're just trying to make it competitive. That's what they were saying in the hours leading up to it.
I was curious to find out who was going to win, because it was neck and neck. We were all reporting that, and we wanted to see who was going to win, because I wanted to see what the voters, if they still are in favor of President Trump. It looks like they are, and they're in favor of that agenda. But the Democrats, I mean, she works for Politico, very left-leaning newspaper or online publication. And so for her to say that, for the Democrats to start realizing, hey, maybe we need to need to read the Republican playbook and find out what Republicans or what Middle America really wants. It's not about Russia, Russia, Russia. Wow. We had that Democrat saying that last week. It's not about Russia, Russia, Russia. People want to talk about jobs. They want to talk about health care, keeping our country safe.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, if you think about that, too, she's there to analyze. You can't do anything else except for maybe blame the weather like Rachel Maddow for the fact that they lost. Real quick, South Carolina also a 3-point victory for the Republican. Meanwhile, Kellyanne Conway had probably the most interesting tweet. She wrote, laughing my hashtag Ossoff. So that after the victory, she was on our couch yesterday. Saying this, listen, the polls show this is very close. It turns out it went to the Republican by 5.
She also tweeted out, hey, Karen Handel, thanks for standing strong, for running on issues, for being a grown-up, and for living in the district. Welcome to Congress.
And Brian brought this one up earlier. Donald Trump Jr., he wrote this, congratulations, Dems. That's the most expensive participation medal since November. Hashtag Make America Great Again.
Well, when you factor in November, that's 5-0 for the president.
Because that was Montana, Kansas, Georgia, South Carolina.
And by the way, while we were doing this, the president and the Republican Party were looking at health care. Like it or not, they're knee-deep. They're talking about tax reform. Like it or not, knee-deep. They're tackling our #1 enemy, that's North Korea. Like it or not, they're taking positions. The president and the Republicans are governing. The Democrats should get on board or tell us what they want.
And Republicans want the wall.
But
All right, we've got some headlines for us. Hey,
Thanks.
Jillian,
bunch
good
of-
morning.
I just love social media sarcasm, and
No
it's
kidding.
just absolutely.
You like Kellyanne's tweet.
I don't think there's
You
any
laugh.
place for it.
Absolutely. Okay, let's begin right now with the Fox News alert. Prince Philip has just been admitted to the hospital. The 96-year-old taken there as a precautionary measure as he battles an infection ahead of the Queen's speech today. Buckingham Palace says he is in good spirits and is disappointed to be missing the state opening of Parliament. We will keep you posted there on that information. And brand new details on the terrorist who tried to blow up a busy train station in Brussels. The 36-year-old Moroccan man shot dead by soldiers after shouting Allahu Akbar, threatening passengers and setting off this fiery blast. He had a suitcase filled with nail and gas canisters, but it failed to fully explode, avoiding a major tragedy. No one else was hurt. Police say the attacker was not on their terror radar. A win in the war on terror, a U.S. airstrike taking out the right-hand man of ISIS leader al-Baghdadi. The White House confirming Turki al-Banali was killed in Syria, right near the Iraqi border. The terrorist and self-proclaimed chief cleric for ISIS was a preacher and recruiter for foreign fighters. And how about this? We were just talking about social media, right? Twitter going wild over this picture showing a really awkward hug between Senator Marco Rubio and Ivanka Trump. The two meeting at the Capitol to talk tax reform and parental leave. Now, hours after the photo began to make rounds on social media, Rubio tweeting out a new picture saying it provides more insight into the hug. He later came to the conclusion that no hug was even attempted, and press Kofifi of alleged failed hug. Oh my goodness, look at that. Failed hug. Yeah, okay. Ivanka also getting in on the joke, tweeting, "Fake news. Marco is an excellent hugger." As I mentioned, I love social media sarcasm so much, so I fully appreciate all of the...
Absolutely. And we've got the awkward hugger himself, Marco Rubio, is
On
going to
the
be
show
with us. We're going
today.
to get to the bottom of it coming up.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks, Jillian.
All right, and next up on the rundown for this Wednesday, would Otto Warmbier be alive if the United States brought him home from North Korea sooner? Congressman Will Hurd on that coming up next.
All right, President Trump tweeting yesterday, while I greatly appreciate the efforts of President Xi and China to help with North Korea, it has not worked out. At least I know China tried. Really? So what options does China have? Will Hurd is a Texas Republican, congressman, of course, on Homeland Security Committee and a former CIA officer. So the president says, hey, China, you tried to talk to you are the #1 friend and only friend real of North Korea. It didn't work. Our guy's dead. 3 others are still held hostage. I find that tweet endlessly intriguing. What do you read from that?
Well, I read from that the president is looking at unilateral options within North Korea, which are limited. But also, 90% of North Korea's economy comes through China. The Chinese could do more. They talked about how they stopped purchasing coal from North Korea. Well, the money, they had already exchanged money for a bunch of coal for the rest of the year. Are they going to continue that? The Chinese allow North Korean companies to use arcane business rules in China to operate in China. So we have economic tools to put pressure on the Chinese in order to try to get them to move in North Korea.
Congressman, I don't think he took the foot off the gas in saying that. I think he's tweaking them and doing that and not being flagrant and blatant in his displeasure. My feeling is, I'm not going to embarrass you publicly, but I understand you're not doing everything you can do. So I might have to take things into my own hands. Oh, like the 57 Tomahawks I sent while you were at Mar-a-Lago. He also flew a supersonic B-1B bomber in a show of force against Kim Jong-un's North Korea right after the death of Otto, and he did it right around the DMZ. What else can he do in terms of maybe next time they have a rocket launch?
Shoot it down. If the North Koreans test anything, I think we destroy it before it goes down. I think we got to show them that we have the resolve and that we have the capability to do this. And we also got to make sure the new South Korean regime is helping here. You know, the new South Korean president wants to engage with North Korea, and if Kim Jong-un wants to show that he's serious, then releasing the 3 Americans that are still in captivity would be a good start.
I believe, Congressman, and you know better than most because you're a CIA guy as well as a lawmaker, we have to send them a message that this will not stand. And if we allow Otto to die without any retribution, what about the rest? What about the next?
Look, if there's no consequences to negative behavior, then that negative behavior will continue. And what happened to Otto, I can only imagine what the family is going through and what they will be going through, losing, a child in the prime of their life.
And we got to do it even for him and for the others. Congressman Will Hurd, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I look for Democrats to be on board. How could there be a partisan look at this? Meanwhile, it was supposed to be a referendum on President Trump. But after another historic election loss in Georgia, where do the Democrats go? And what do they do wrong? And one of America's most iconic toys is now a hipster with a man bun. What? A closer look at Ken's makeover.
All right, let's take a look at some business headlines on this Wednesday morning. While you were sleeping, Uber CEO calling it quits. He's going to step aside from the company he co-founded in 2009. This comes just after he announced an indefinite leave of absence. Uber has been rocked by a series of scandals in, as you know, the last couple of weeks. And Amazon is going to let you try before you buy. The online retail giant launching a new service called Prime Wardrobe. It ships clothes to your house for free and gives you 7 days to decide whether or not you want to keep them. Prime members also get discounts based on how many items they do buy. And speaking of buying, would you buy this? Barbie's got a new boyfriend, kind of. Ken is getting a makeover. He now has 15 new looks, including Ken with a man bun. Some dolls come with dad bods instead of six-packs. This is Ken's first major update in 56 years. What do you think about that? All right, Ainsley, over to you.
Okay, can we put your picture up, Steve, with a man bun? Because I want to see that. All right, this is a Fox News alert. Karen Handel's special election victory in Georgia, dealing with a major blow to the Democrats. It was supposed to be their referendum on President Trump, so why did they lose? Here to debate this is Fox News contributor and radio talk show host Tammy Bruce, along with Bustle.com executive editor Julie Alvin. So, Julie, as a Democrat, I'll ask you first, what happened here? Why did the Democrats lose in Georgia?
Well, this was a disappointing night for Democrats, obviously. And I don't necessarily know that this was the right spending of resources and that it was necessarily the right candidate to put up. That said, I don't know that this loss can necessarily be called a victory for Donald Trump. You know, Karen Handel specifically distanced herself from Donald Trump on the campaign trail. She rarely mentioned his name. She talked about her independence from the White House and removing herself from the status quo. So that was sort of in contrast to the other Republicans she was running against. So I think the fact that she is the Republican who won, I think that indicates progress.
You said you were bummed this morning when you woke up.
I was bummed, but I wasn't necessarily surprised.
Okay.
Tom Price won this seat by 23 points.
Newt Gingrich before him.
Right, and this has been a Republican stronghold for 40 years, and the fact that an unexperienced young candidate lost by only 3 points, that's progress to me. Right. It's not the result I was hoping for, but it's progress.
Tammy, do you agree with her?
Well, I agree in that it was the wrong race. I think any of these special elections were wrong for the Democrats to put so much emphasis on how they were some kind of a bellwether. Look, these are empty seats. There is no incumbent. But when they put this as the one that meant something, that's a mistake. South Carolina Republican also won last night, much closer. I think that man won by maybe a few hundred votes. Bottom line is, though, this is a sign of some level of desperation. The fact is, actually, I think now the win was 6 points. The cheers at her party at the end was mostly for Donald Trump when it came to the support that she had and his support of her as well. And, of course, just the general statement. Now, the Republicans have won all the special elections, and when 2018 comes around, there will be incumbents involved. But the reason they lost is the reason why Hillary lost. It's the reason why they lost 1,000 seats during Obama's term, is that they're disconnected from the nature of what's happening in the country. According to the book Shattered, Hillary Clinton, when she realized that she had trouble with Donald Trump, said to her aides, "I don't understand what's happening in the country." And that's the problem. And I think part of it, forgive me, not all Democrats, but their leadership in these candidates, and whether it's Obama and Hillary, in their heart don't like the American people, believe that they know better. And Donald Trump's appeal has been that he likes us. He understands the nature of what's occurring, whether it's the Rust Belt or the coasts or across the country, and he really wants to help make the difference. We gave them 8 years. It did not work, obviously. Now the American people want something else, and the Democrats have got to recognize that and act on it.
Julie, do you agree with her on that? Because we talk
Absolutely
about rhetoric.
not.
We talk about the rhetoric, and Democrats are so focused. You've got Bernie Sanders, and you've got Elizabeth Warren. They're also focused on the rhetoric, on saying collusion and obstruction and Jared's finances. But then you have middle America that's saying, hey, look at Georgia. I mean, I know it was close. Demographics have changed in that area. More Democrats are moving into the South and into Georgia. But when you look at the rhetoric, you even have Anna Palmer from Politico saying if the Democrats don't learn from this, they're going to lose. They're going to lose again. So don't you think that Democrats need to get on board and start paying attention to what the American people really want, and that's jobs and security?
I think that to say that the Democrats aren't paying attention to what the American people want is false. I think that Donald Trump tapped into something very specific, a very specific, desire for a change from the status quo during the election. But to say that Democrats don't like the American people, that is a ridiculous statement to me. They love the American people. They're trying to create policies that are good for the American people. I think that, the American Health Care Act that is potentially going to be passed in the Senate is an indication that the Republicans do not care about low-income people, and they want to give tax cuts to millionaires.
Look, I think that the black swan, when this election also was the shooting last week, where people want to ignore that there was an attempted assassination of 22 GOPers. Well, Americans are seeing that as a harbinger of the attitude of the left, and that is even making them even more concerned. That's where Bernie and Elizabeth Warren come in. That rhetoric has to change at first, really, one of the first things.
All right, Tammy, Julie, thank you for being with us. All right, coming up, he tried to blow up innocent people in 2 states, but his lawyers say he is not a terrorist. You're going to hear their argument coming up next. And Janice Dean says she's Canadian, but is she really? We just did her DNA test. We're going to reveal the results to her coming up.
Back with the Fox News Alert now at 27 minutes before the top of the hour. More winning for the GOP. Look at this. 2 huge victories for Republicans in special elections.
That's right.
Last night.
A historic congressional district race in Georgia 6, capturing the nation's attention. Karen Handel, the first woman Republican congressman elected from Georgia, beating Democrat challenger Jon Ossoff, whose Democratic Party poured millions into his race.
That's right. And President Trump congratulating Karen Handel and the high-dollar Democratic effort to flip a GOP stronghold that fell short.
Yeah, and Ralph Norman will fill the South Carolina congressional seat left open by Mick Mulvaney. He's the director of Office of Management and Budget, a bit of a challenging job. This is the 4th special election Republicans have won in recent months. So much for President Trump being his rag on the ticket. I mean, where's the evidence of that? I mean, look at this.
That's right. And keep in mind, everybody was going to say, if she lost, it's a referendum on Donald Trump. He's toast. This morning, they can't make that argument. What do you think about the 2 big wins for Republicans? Email us, friends@foxnews.com, or you could tweet us or Facebook.
Let us know what you think. Did you wake up happy or sad? Who were you voting for or pulling for?
And that might be an in-between. You don't have to just be extreme, really happy or really sad.
If that's the case, don't write us. Don't write us if you're in
moderate. Yes. Jillian, are you happy or sad?
I'm happy.
Okay,
Is that
good.
okay?
Yeah, it's okay to be happy.
Good morning to you guys.
Morning.
To you at home as well. Let's get you caught up on the news of the day, what you need to know. Immigrant college students in one state won't be getting any financial help. Arizona's Court of Appeals ruling Dreamers are not entitled to in-state tuition. Now, the court ruled the DACA program only protects immigrants from being deported, overturning a 2015 ruling saying Dreamers qualified for state benefits. Maricopa Community College, who brought the original case, now deciding if they will appeal. As early as next week, you won't need to pick a gender to apply for a Washington, D.C. driver's license. The state, following in Oregon's footsteps, we actually told you about that last week, and will soon include a not specified option on DMV applications. This means instead of an M or an F on a state-issued ID, there would be an option for an X. President Trump weighing in on a New Jersey school district where yearbooks were altered to remove students referencing him. The president posting this letter to Facebook thanking Wall High School students Montana and Wyatt Dubrovich Fargo for not backing down. Along with the letter, the students were sent a care package of campaign memorabilia. You can see they sent the photos there. The school is now reissuing yearbooks with the students wearing their original Trump shirts. Let's look at your headlines. And now it is time for some very exciting news with our Janice Dean. Hey.
All right. Thank you very much. So they're going to reissue the yearbooks, just like that the kids wanted.
It's going to be very expensive, but that's what the child wanted, and he got his wish.
And yeah, let's try to buy one.
We should.
Yeah, we should try to buy one and then look back at the year that was.
We could just borrow his.
No, it'll make us depressed because now kids are saying, yeah, I graduated in 2030.
And what's this, a book? Can I get this
Right.
online?
Yeah.
All right, y'all, this is exciting news. Our Janice Dean is a proud Canadian, right?
Right, that's what she says. But back in February, we used myheritage.com to track our backgrounds, and we found all sorts of things. Turns out I'm not half Irish. I am 20%. Well, now it's Janice's turn.
Right, yeah, I was alleviated of 4 criminal accusations after my DNA was exposed. Here with Janice's results as a contributor with MyHeritage and the author of Something Beautiful Happened, Yvette Corcoran. Hey, Yvette, welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much.
So you examine what makes Janice tick.
There's a lot that makes Janice tick.
Wait, can you explain what's happening in that video? She's not brushing her teeth.
Right. No, she's not. Janice is swabbing for her DNA. It is a simple test.
She does not brush her teeth.
Using this kit on MyHeritage DNA, it's a simple cheek swab, and that tells us everything we need to know about your ethnicity and where you come from.
That's going to be on the internet for centuries.
Did you know what Brian said? No, Janice does not brush her teeth.
Please, enough of those rumors.
As long as she's swabbing, we're good.
So today it's Janice Dean, the DNA machine.
Oh my gosh.
You ready?
I'm nervous. I'm going to tell you. My husband said last night, I said, I'm nervous. He said, it's okay. Whatever happens, it's not your fault.
That's good.
Well, it's not your fault, and we have some really wonderful surprises for you. Okay, let's start first with MyHeritage DNA results.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so, Janice, here we are. Drum roll, please. You are, and just like that, or trumpets, 73.6% Irish, Scottish, and Welsh.
Okay.
We actually have some history for you on the Irish side of your family.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that seems okay so far.
She's good. Okay, shall we go on? 11.1% Scandinavian, which is Sweden, Norway, and Denmark.
Oh, you're
Does not
related to
surprise
Steve.
me.
That's Steve.
Okay. 9.7% English.
My
And
people?
at last, 5.6% Iberian, Spain, and Portugal, which may be a surprise to you.
Fancy. That is
Very
a little bit of
fancy.
surprise.
But not only that, so we have your genetic breakdown, but also because of the database at MyHeritage DNA, we have already connected you with 60 DNA matches. So you have 60 people who share your
So
DNA.
let's bring them on in.
Yeah, this is
Cousins around the world
this is
who
your
are
new
just waiting
Christmas
to
list.
connect with you.
Oh my gosh, this is the tree.
So that's the tree right there. You have over 130 people in your family tree. MyHeritage was able to go and build your family tree based on that. Now, if you see that tree, I know that you know a lot about your mother's side of the family, but your father's side of the family was a bit of a mystery to you.
Right.
Until today.
Oh, that's
Okay.
exciting.
Ooh.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does anybody have Kleenex? Because I know
we're
I'm going to cry.
But
Well, these
Right,
are
give her
happy
your
tears
tie.
because we have some really interesting info for you. Okay, so your father's side of the family. MyHeritage researchers were actually able to trace your father's family back to the 1700s. I know you are a proud Canadian, but your roots here in the United States go back to the 1700s. Like Ainsley's family, it was way back
so she
here.
defected at some point.
Or a relative did along the way.